Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our gentle yoga class, yoga for beginners and everybody. So, I have my lovely peonies from my friend Sarah here. This is a peony bouquet that I got from her subscription. Anyway, it's just gorgeous. So, I'm just putting it in the corner so you can enjoy it too while it lasts. And this week we are on the seventh of the yamas and niyamas. It's the second niyama. It's called Santosha. So feel free to find yourself in any comfortable seat, or my favorite is to come to lying down on the back. And Santosha means contentment. So as you begin to settle, you could close down the eyes if you want. You might soften through the face, relaxing the jaw. Let your shoulders relax onto the earth and then just feel the support beneath you. In the book by Deborah Adele, she says of Santosha contentment that practicing gratitude protects us from our own pettiness and smallness and keeps us centered in the joy and abundance of our own life. When stimulations pull at us, disturbances beckon us, it is the gratitude uttered from our own lips that keeps us strongly rooted in contentment. The Buddhists speak of developing an abiding calm, a centeredness that is unshakable. Like a tall tree, so rooted in the earth that great winds cannot topple it. This is the image of contentment. It means not riding the waves of the ups and downs of life. We stay in the abiding, calm center that contentment invites us into. The practice of gratitude can help us stay rooted in this jewel. So for a moment, go ahead and bring your awareness into your heart center. Maybe you can create a picture, an image of what contentment might look like for you. In the book, The Yamas and Niyamas by Deborah Adele, she talks about each one of these yamas and niyamas are considered to be like jewels. So maybe take a moment to picture Santosha contentment as a glowing jewel. When you inhale, feel the jewel glow and radiate from your heart. And with your exhale, allow it to soften and fade. And then we're going to invite some gentle movements into the body now. So feel free to come onto your back. Maybe you could have a block handy and a strap. Trying to get my strap handy. Oops. And you can just have them off to the side. And then go ahead and walk your feet as wide as your mat and allow your knees to start to gently sway from side to side. Feel free to move at the pace of your own breath. And you might even start to gently turn the gaze in the opposite direction. Just finding a little bit of a spiral twist through the spine, up towards the neck, allowing your shoulders to rest heavy. Just feeling that little bit of stretch and sensation wherever you might find it. The next time your knees fall over to the left, go ahead and just land them there. If your feet are as if your feet are as wide as the mat, you can allow the top knee to fall down towards the bottom foot. And then turn your gaze over towards your left hand, or sorry, your right hand in the opposite direction of your knees. And just take a moment to allow yourself to settle. Anytime you notice your thoughts begin to wander, you might just gently observe that and see if you can bring your awareness back towards your intention and then finding the sensations in your body. Now we'll inhale to lift the knees and nose back up to center, and exhale, allow yourself to find the other side. Knees falling over to the right, turning the gaze over towards the left. Sending your breath and your awareness into those areas of sensation. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we'll bring the knees and nose back up to center. Go ahead and grab for your block if you have one, and then we'll tuck the chin towards the chest. You can bring the block right underneath the skull and allow your head to rest on the block. The edge of the block might be at the base of your neck. And if you don't have a block, you can always just keep your head on the ground and sort of just allow your head to turn from side to side. You might think of this gentle shake of the head no, moving slowly with your breath as a way to practice saying no to anything that no longer serves you. I love this for a little bit of a neck massage. Totally optional. Breathing into sensations. You could always just pause in stillness here. Take one more nice deep breath. We'll come back to center. You can release the block off to the side. Set your head back down. And then just allow your head to once more shake from side to side. When you're ready, we'll come back to center, and then you can reach for your strap. We're going to do that Supta Padagustasana, hand to foot pose. And with this, you can bring the strap. If your strap is long enough, make a big loop. And then I like to stretch the strap underneath my armpits around my upper back. But that's because I have an extra long strap. But if you don't, you can always just use a shorter strap. We're going to lasso the right foot. So you can kind of hug the right foot in towards you, reach your strap around the ball of your right foot, extend your right leg long, and then either keep your arms reaching towards your foot, or you might glide your hands down the strap so that your elbows can rest towards your rib cage. And see about taking some nice deep breaths up and down the length of your leg. As you rest here, you might soften your gaze up towards your toes and think about what it might be like to send gratitude to your foot. And there's a part in the book where she says, practice falling in love with your own life. And maybe we could even just practice for a moment falling in love with our foot, all the different places that it takes us, our own unique foot. You could either keep your left foot on the ground with the knee bent, or if you think you might want to deepen the stretch, you could glide your heel along the earth, stretching your left leg long, and this might deepen the stretch. For a moment, begin to scan the body, looking for those areas that might be efforting more than they need to. Can you invite softness in, maybe into the jaw, into the shoulders? See if you can breathe into the belly of the back of your thigh, into your hamstring. Hamstrings, I guess there's more than one. And then when you're ready, we're going to find a stretch for the inner thigh. So you can either transfer the reins of the strap into the right hand, or maybe keep it in both hands, but we're going to glide the right leg a bit out to the right. If you're finding that you want to back off from that absolute edge, you could also bring a block and wedge the block in between the earth and your thigh for a little bit of support. So I have the block at an angle right against my thigh, just to give you a sense of support. See if you can sink into this position, letting yourself unwind and relax. On the next inhale, we'll lift the leg back up to center. You can transfer the reins of the strap now into the left hand, allowing the right leg to just barely cross the midline. Thinking about finding length along the outside edge of your right leg. Maybe you feel this in your IT band, from your hip to your knee, maybe all the way along the right side of your leg. We'll take one more nice deep breath here, and then come back to center. Let's release your foot from the strap, but keep your foot lifted up towards the sky. See if you can use the strength of your core to lower your foot with control. Imagining you're parting the molecules of air with your heel, softly, 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 and then allow your foot to find the ground, your whole leg to find the ground. You can take a moment to find a long body stretch, maybe reaching your arms past your ears, your legs long, and take a moment to rotate your wrists and your ankles in one direction and then the other direction. And then we're going to get ready for the other side. So you might drag your heels back in, bringing your feet onto the mat for more support. And then you can reach up, lasso your left foot into the strap, stretch your left leg long, and then see if you can notice, are there differences here from left to right? See if you can breathe into those areas of sensation, maybe the belly of your left hamstrings. Gaze up lovingly towards your left foot, noticing its uniqueness. See if you can cultivate love towards your foot and gratitude. Feel free to keep your right foot on the ground, or you can glide your heel down, lengthening your right leg long, resting it on the earth for a deeper stretch. It's okay if that's too intense. Feel free to back off and bring your foot back onto the ground. You can always change your mind. Notice where you can soften your effort, balance it with your ease. And then on your next exhale breath, maybe you allow your left foot, left leg to fall out to the left. You could transfer the reins of your strap into your left hand or use both hands. And then feel free to take a block or a pillow, anything that might help you receive some support. So I have the block wedged right up against my left thigh, kind of at an angle, just to create a boundary of support. See if you can listen for the ocean-like quality of your breath, soothing you, relaxing into the shape, into the supports. Let's take one more nice deep breath on this side. And when you're ready, you can lift your leg back up through center. Maybe you transfer the reins of the strap into your right hand now, and just allow the left leg to cross the midline, keeping your whole back body, your torso, your hips firmly rooted on the earth, thinking about finding the outer edge of your left leg, perhaps from your knee towards your hip, maybe even further from your knee down towards your ankle. It's natural for your mind to start to wander maybe towards events of the past or plans for the future. So just use mindfulness to notice, observe your thoughts. See if you can usher them back into the present moment, to be with your body, to be with sensation, and to be with your breath. When you're ready, we'll bring the leg back to center. You can release the strap, keep your leg lifted up towards the sky, and then with control, use the strength of your belly to allow your foot to cascade down towards the ground. Slowly, slowly parting each molecule of air until it finds the earth, and then you can take that nice long body stretch. From here, we're going to glide the feet back so that the heels are towards the sit bones. And then you can press into your heels to lift your hips and scooch them a little over to the right so that you can land your left hip, and then we'll roll the knees onto the right side or the left side. Extend your arms out into a letter T and just take a moment to relax into a twist. Softening the shoulders down, allowing the knees to stacking the hip. You can find that bit of a twist in the spine. And when you're ready, we're going to roll all the way onto our left side. So you might start to curl your right hand in, sweep your right hand over to meet your left, and then we'll roll onto our side body. You can either scoot your hand underneath your head, kind of like your slumber party, or you might use a block underneath the temple for support. And then on this side, we're going to take some opportunity to strengthen through the glutes and the hip. So let's take our clamshells here, just lifting and lowering the top knee, strengthening through the hip. As you move and strengthen, can you send gratitude towards your hip for all the ways in which it supports you in your life? Just continue at the pace of your own breath. And when you feel ready to close down this action, we'll bring the knees so they're in a straight line with the body. And then you can lift the top knee, lower it down in front to hopefully find some length and stretch, relief for the glute, the side of the hip. Now you can stay right here, or we discussed before class this idea of taking the cat chasing its tail twist. So you can allow the top shoulder to sort of sink back behind you. It's not going to reach the ground. And then maybe you want to take a quad stretch for the bottom leg. So you can lift up, reach for that foot. If it's too far away, you could take the strap and reach down so that you can wrap it around maybe the foot or the ankle just to give you a little bit more space. This would also work with like a TheraBand, some of those stretchy bands. And maybe this gives you a nice stretch for your bottom quad, and that's going to be my left quad. So stretching through the right hip, stretching through the bottom left quad, and maybe even finding a nice variation of a twist here. Whenever you feel ready to release this side, we'll release the foot, roll onto the back, find center so you can press your feet into the mat to lengthen the spine, and then allow the spine to roll back down. Just take a moment to pause here in center as you unwind from your twist. Maybe you can feel the tissues rehydrating, bringing in fresh nutrients. Then I'm just going to turn around so I can still face you. We'll get ready for the other side. So pressing into your heels, you can lift the hips and bump them over to the left so that you can stack your knees over to the right. Open your arms into a letter T shape and relax into your twist. Allow your shoulders to rest heavy on the earth. Maybe even continue the spiral of your spine by turning your gaze over towards your left hand. And see if you can soften here. Continue to breathe into sensation. And then you can kind of bring your left hand in. And it's like a reverse sweep. Draw it over towards your right hand as you roll onto your side. And then you can prop your head up on a block or on your hand. And we'll try our clamshells on this side. So lifting and lowering the top knee, sending your breath and your gratitude into the hip joint as you strengthen the glute. When we strengthen the glute, they say in our a lot of people get prescribed this particular movement in what is that called? Physical therapy. And so it's a good practice for us to bring it in, strengthening the glute to help support the knee. So we might just circle the hip joint with gratitude for all it does to support us in our daily life. You can take this movement as quickly or slowly as you like, following the pace of your own breath. And then when you feel ready to call it quits, go ahead and lower the knee. We'll slide the knees back so they're in a straight line with the body, and then lift the top knee, lower it down in front. You can always stay right here, just stretching through the hip, the glutes, or turn this into a little bit of a twist by allowing the left shoulder to sink back. And maybe you want to lasso the foot, the bottom foot, for a quad stretch. So you could take the loop of your strap, maybe wrap it around your foot if you can if you can get it there. Takes a little bit of maneuvering. Oops. How can we do this more elegantly? Seemed like it was easier on the other side. That's okay too. Oh, there we go. Catching the ball of the foot and just finding that quad stretch. Feel free to make any adjustments, allowing yourself an opportunity to settle into sensation. Take one more nice deep breath here. When you're ready, you can release the foot, toss the strap off to the side, roll onto your back, press your feet into the mat to adjust your spine so that the spine can find neutral. And then just take a moment to allow the tissues to rehydrate, finding center. Now it's totally up to you. We're going to come up to a seat. So, however you'd like to get there, you can either hug your knees into your chest, and maybe it would feel good to rock and roll up and down the length of your spine, or simply roll onto one side and press yourself up into a seat. You might stack a blanket and a bolster to find a seated position. You could also come to hands and knees if you prefer. So we're going to do some cat and cow. I'm just going to sit on the bolster and the blanket in a cross-legged position. You could also extend your legs out, find a chair for a seat instead, or as I mentioned, come to tabletop. So we'll find some cat and cow stretches. Go ahead and inhale, lift the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine back. Go ahead and move at the pace of your own breath. At any point in time, you might decide to change up the movement, finding maybe a barrel roll, circling the belly button in one direction, and then circling it in the other direction when you feel ready. You might even bring your head into the mix, stretching through the neck. When you feel ready, we'll come back to center. And then we're going to make our way up to standing. So feel free to find a downward facing dog. If you prefer to skip down dog, you could always just come into a forward fold instead. So maybe that would look like stepping one foot forward, tucking the toes of the back foot under, lifting the back knee, and then hopping the feet together to find a forward fold. You might start in a wide-legged forward fold. You can always remember, enjoy a down dog before you come to this forward fold. But maybe you take a moment to wrap your opposite elbow and keeping a soft, gentle micro bend in the knees. You can just allow yourself to gently ragdoll here side to side. You might shake your head no, and then nod your head yes. And then we'll come back to center. Release your hands down either onto blocks or feel free to press against your legs, either above your knees or on your shins. We'll inhale to lift up halfway, lengthening through the spine. Exhale to melt the heart forward. Go ahead and take two more rounds, inhaling to halfway lift, exhaling to forward fold. One more time like this. And now find a soft micro bend in the knees. We'll press into the feet and lift the torso upright, coming up to stand. You can sweep the arms up and around Exhale, draw the hands into the heart center. Go ahead and land in your Tadasana with your arms at your sides. And then we are going to find a balancing position with tree pose. So you might find either some furniture to hold on to that's going to be strong and steady, or you could find a wall space. I don't have a wall space to demonstrate that's within reach, so I'm just going to use the edge of this bed here for our tree pose. So from here, you can go ahead and peel the right heel off of the mat so your toes are still touching down on the ground. Maybe this will be your expression of tree here. And you can practice balance by releasing your hand from support. You could start to open the knee and bring your heel to rest against your ankle or your shin, kind of like more like my ankle. And to me, that feels really good because it's kind of a stretch for the right foot as well as a little bit of a pressure point along the inner, what is that, ankle of the left foot. You could drag your heel up so that now your foot is resting against your calf, your inner seam of your calf. Or sometimes people hop the heel over the knee and they press it to the inner thigh. That feels like a little too extreme for me. You can reach down to grab hold of your ankle and bring it up higher if that feels right. So finding any sort of place, and now we practice balance. And this is why it kind of might be nice to have the toes on the ground because it feels a little bit more steady. You want to see if you can find a dristi. This is going to be a focal point, either on the ground or at the horizon or even up towards the sky. And then if you really want to challenge your balance, you might invite both hands to meet at the heart. Keeping that soft focus of your dristi, that fixed place. You might start to blossom your 3 middle fingers open, creating a lotus flower mudra at the heart center. Now imagine this intention, whatever it is, as a glowing jewel at your heart. Allow it to be held in the soft palm of your hands. And then you can go ahead and reach the hands up, sending that gratitude, that light out into the stars, and then rain your fingers down and around. Let's come back to center, bring your hands to your hips, or maybe find that bit of support. We're going to kick the right foot out in front and then step the feet out and take a moment to just shake it all off. Allowing your arms to maybe graze your sides, or maybe you have a pail of water that you're tossing over your shoulder, side to side. And then come back to center, come back to stillness when you're ready. Maybe take a moment to pause and bring your hands to rest at your heart. Can you feel the rhythm of your heartbeat? And then when you're ready, we're going to try the other side. So you can still maybe find support. Maybe you want to find support on the other side, different hand. Just find the position, the place that's going to work for you. You could also practice this at a wall where you're just having the wall right behind you, so that if you felt like you were going to fall, you could lean on the wall. This time we're going to peel the left heel off of the mat. And just enjoy the stretch for the left foot. Feel your roots start to form on the bottom of your right foot. And then maybe you open the knee, bringing the heel to rest against the ankle. This could be your tree pose. This could be your tree pose. You could glide the heel up so that your foot is resting on your calf. So wherever works best for you. Then we're going to work on finding that dristi. Go ahead and bring the hands maybe in this gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. When you're ready, just see in your peripheral vision your middle fingers opening into that lotus flower, blooming open. Can you envision your intention living there in the palm of your hands? And then see if with gratitude and generosity you can spread that intention out, lifting it up, reaching your tree limbs up towards the sky. With your next exhale, you can rain your fingers down, bring your hands to your hips, and maybe lift the opposite foot out in front before you step it wide and shake it all off. Maybe you have a bucket of water you want to toss over your shoulder, lifting your opposite hand up and over. And when you're ready, we can come back to stillness. Take a moment to pause, especially if you might feel a little dizzy. Bring your hands to rest on your heart and feel for the rhythm, drumbeat of your heart. When you're ready, we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to come back to our downward facing dog and make our way onto our bellies for a little bit of work down there on our front side. So you can go ahead and rest your hands, either plant your palms on the ground, or sometimes it's nice, I like to bring my hands onto blocks. You can step your feet back to find a downward facing dog. You might pedal your heels a little bit and then slowly, softly land your knees only for a moment. We're going to make our way onto our bellies. So you can lower yourself down, stretch your legs out behind you. Go ahead and either stack your palms one on top of the other, or stack your fists to make a little pillow to rest your forehead. See if you can soften all of your effort, taking a moment to delight in this time of rest. Yoga offers us the opportunity to practice balancing our effort and our ease. Giving ourselves permission to rest when the time is right. Just as important as our effort. Sometimes we make things too hard, overworking ourselves. How do we invite balance in? From here, you can lift your head, either slide your hands out in front of you, or you can slide your hands down to rest behind, next to your hips. And then on the next inhale breath, you can lift your heart. Maybe you float your arms Float your legs, balance on the belly for a flying superhero. If you want a little bit of support in this, you can always turn your palms down so that they press right next to your hips. On the next exhale, go ahead and turn your gaze maybe to the right, allowing your left temple to rest. See if you can allow yourself to soften here. Maybe delight in a time of rest. And we'll get ready for that effort once more. Inhaling to lift the heart, float the hands, float the legs, coming into locust pose, thinking about yourself gliding, flying over the earth, just like a flying superhero. And when you're ready, go ahead and exhale. You can either bring your hands back, your forehead back into that crocodile shape, or it might feel good to allow your temple to rest. So this time, turning your gaze to the left. If you feel like the earth is too far away, you could also use a block for underneath your head and rest your temple there. Go ahead and take 2 more rounds of locust pose, following the pace of your own breath. This time when you lift up, maybe you want to float your hands forward and then swim them around and back. Turn the gaze to the right, soften your left temple, relax all of your effort. Maybe even sigh out through the mouth. One more time, inhaling to lift. Maybe you can float your arms forward and then fly them back. Exhale, turn your gaze and soften all of your effort, turning your gaze to the left, bringing your right temple onto the mat. On the next inhale, we're going to lift the chest and bring the elbows to rest underneath the shoulders. So now your palms are on the earth, your forearms are on the earth, kind of getting a little bit of a back bend here. And you can kind of scoop your tailbone under, drawing your belly button a little up towards your spine to protect your low back. On the next exhale, maybe you turn your gaze over your left shoulder, just peek. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, peek over your right shoulder. One more time, each side. And then we'll inhale to come back to center. We're going to try an upper back twist, kind of like thread the needle. So I've been kind of liking this because you can do thread the needle from hands and knees, but this is kind of nice because you don't have to put any pressure on the knee. So for this, I'm going to press into my left hand, lift the left elbow, and make space underneath my left armpit to weave my right hand under. And then you could use a block underneath your head here for support, or just soften your head down towards the ground. Feel free to play around with the setting that works best for you, thinking about a little bit of a twist from the upper back. Just like thread the needle on hands and knees. It's just no pressure on the knee. Taking some slow, deep breaths, practicing ujjayi breathing. And then from here, we'll unwind the twist. Come back into your Sphinx for a moment, just a pause. And then we'll get ready for the other side. So I'm pressing into my right hand, creating some space underneath the hand to weave the left arm under into this thread the needle, and then stacking a block underneath the side of my face for support. You could also soften your head down to rest on your shoulder. See about using any bit of leverage that you have to deepen the twist or not. Breathing into the upper back, the shoulder. Take one more nice deep breath here. And when you're ready to unwind from your twist, you can press into your right hand, lift your torso up, and then come back into Sphinx. And for a moment, we'll melt into crocodile, stacking the palms. Maybe it would feel good, nice stretch for around the knees. We were talking about that before class. This idea of stretching around the knees. You might bend the knees and just allow the heels to begin to sway here from side to side. I feel this as kind of a massage for my quads, for the belly. Where do you feel sensation? When you're ready, you can soften your feet back down. We're going to take a little bit of a counter stretch now to open through the chest. So you can slide your left hand out right behind you, right beside you, really, into a letter T shape. And then you'll walk the fingertips over as you roll onto your left side, opening through the shoulder, the pec. You can stack the legs. Remember, you might not have to go that far to feel sensation through the front of the chest. If you're stacking your hips and you want to feel this a little bit further, maybe you can go a little further. You could always scissor open your legs. So I'm kind of stretching my right leg back at an angle so that the heel is on the ground. But if that feels too intense, keep the hips stacked. Or even if it feels too intense, you can keep your chest kind of hovering more towards the ground. So just go as far as feels good to you. If you additionally want to stretch the quad here, kind of like we did earlier, you could bend the knee and reach down either with your hand or a strap to grab hold of your ankle. And that could give you a nice, generous quad stretch for the right leg, allowing the knee to stack over the opposite knee. Remembering that all of these other variations are just options. When you're ready, go ahead and release the foot. If you're in the bind, we'll roll back onto the belly and just take a moment to pause in your Makrasana, crocodile. If it felt good to windshield wiper the heels, you could do that, bending the knees, letting the heels sway a little side to side. And then we'll get ready for the other side. So reaching the right arm right beside you in the letter T, you can press the left hand underneath the shoulder and then creep the right fingertips behind you as you roll onto the right side. You might stack a block underneath your head for support, and maybe you want to go a little further, scissor open the legs by kicking the left foot behind you, or leave the legs stacked. If you want that quad stretch, you could bend the left knee, kick the left foot towards the glute, and maybe you grab hold of the ankle, stacking the knees over each other. That's totally optional, so feel free to let that go if it doesn't feel right for your body. We'll take one more nice deep breath. When you're ready, we'll close this down, rolling back onto the belly. You can press your palms underneath your shoulders, press up to tabletop, and then come onto your seat. Feel free to bring a blanket underneath your seat for support. I wanted to show another variation of pigeon. And normally we do figure four. So if you like that figure four on your back instead, that totally works too. So for a variation of pigeon, we're going to do what's called like a 90-90. And that's because both of your knees are bent at 90 degrees. They're like in a pinwheel shape. So both of my knees are falling over to the right. I have my right knee in front. And then you could grab your blocks. I forgot to bring the blocks into the mix here. And maybe you stack a pillow on top of the blocks. And this is a stretch for the hip. So I'm kind of folding over my right leg, allowing for a stretch for the hip, kind of a softer variation of pigeon pose if you're familiar with pigeon. And of course, if pigeon is part of your practice, you could always bring that in. Here you might want to just allow your torso to fold over and rest. I'm just using the bolster and blocks to give myself a little bit of support. If you know you love figure four, feel free to come onto your back and do that one instead. That would be bringing the right ankle on top of the left thigh and hugging that shape in. I think that's the one we usually do at the end of class. We'll take one more nice deep breath here, and then when you're ready, you can press up tall. You might lean your hands back and bring your legs out in front to just give them a little shake, or you could also plant them on the ground and do a little sway of your knees, like windshield wiper knees from side to side. We're going to get ready for the other side now. So I'm pinwheeling my legs into this 90-90 position, turning over to face my left leg now, framing it with the blocks, bringing a pillow on top of the blocks for support, and then inhale to lift the spine, exhale to lower down. And just allow yourself an opportunity to rest. Breathing into the hip that might be getting a nice stretch. And remembering you always have options and choices. So if this is not working for you, feel free to gift yourself another choice. Maybe you bring your elbows to rest on the bolster. Make little cups with your hands to rest your forehead, or even cup onto your eyes. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. When you're ready, you can rise up through center. Maybe windshield wiper the knees from side to side, or you could swing the opposite foot around, bringing your feet together in a butterfly. Let's inhale to lengthen the spine, maybe exhale to melt over your legs, giving your feet a little love. You might find a gentle foot rub. Notice the temperature of your toes as you maybe warm them if they need it. And the next place we're going to is our final resting pose, Shavasana, or corpse pose. So you'd be welcome to find any other shapes from here, any other movements. Maybe if you did notice your toes are cold, you might put some socks on or drape a blanket over the body. You could also find that gentle inversion by resting your legs up on a couch, up on the wall. Allow yourself to come into corpse pose, your final rest. When you arrive there, go ahead and soften the eyelids, maybe closing down the eyes. Relax the hinge of your jaw. Allow your shoulders to rest heavy, and then just give yourself an opportunity to rest. Santosha, contentment. Practicing gratitude protects us from our own pettiness and smallness. It keeps us centered in the joy and abundance of our own life. When stimulation pulls at us and disturbance beckons us, it is the gratitude uttered from our own lips that keeps us strongly rooted in contentment. The Buddhists speak of developing an abiding calm, a centeredness that is unshakable, like a tall tree so rooted in the earth that great winds cannot topple it. This is the image of contentment. It means not riding the waves of ups and downs of life. Can we stay in the abiding, calm center that contentment invites us into? The practice of gratitude can help us stay rooted in this jewel. We might frame our exploration of contentment in the following words by Swami Rama. Contentment is falling in love with your life. You can begin to deepen your breath now. Taking a moment to observe that image of contentment as you see it at your heart center. You might imagine that glowing jewel of contentment there. Picture the color. Allow it to shine brightly as you inhale, soften and fade with your exhale. Take 3 more nice deep breaths like this. Now imagine there is a fountain. Imagine the fountain overflowing with gratitude. And just see what naturally bubbles up. What do you feel grateful for? Allow this fountain of gratitude to flow out from your heart, riding through the veins in the body, down into the fingers and toes. And you start to gently wiggle the fingers and toes. Gently begin to rotate the wrists and the ankles. And then find a nice long body stretch, reaching the arms past the ears. Whenever you're ready, you can roll onto one side, cradling yourself there in a fetal position. And then Use the strength of your arms to press yourself up into a seat. We'll invite the hands to meet at the heart center in a gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. And then bow your head towards the wisdom of your ever-loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to guide you through your practice. So I want to thank you, each and every one of you, for being here with me today. And please let me know if you have thoughts or questions about class.